When an animal feels pain, it may scream. When it feels fear, it may run away. When it loses its baby, sometimes it stays beside the body, almost as if it cannot understand what happened. But humans do something strange. We cry not only because of pain, not only because of fear, not only because of physical suffering. We cry because of memories, because of words, because of music, because of loneliness, because of regret, because of love, because of thoughts that exist entirely inside our minds. And this raises a very strange question. Why are humans the only animals that cry emotionally? Because tears themselves are not unique. Many animals have tear glands. Their eyes need moisture and protection, just like ours. Tears clean the eyes, remove dust, and protect vision. But emotional tears, tears caused by sadness, grief, happiness, relief, guilt, heartbreak, or inner suffering, appear to be almost completely human. And the more scientists study this, the stranger it becomes. Because from an evolutionary perspective, crying looks like a terrible survival strategy. When you cry, your vision becomes blurry, your breathing becomes unstable, your body loses control, your face becomes exposed, your attention weakens, you become vulnerable at the exact moment the ancient world demanded awareness, speed, and strength. For an animal in the wild, vulnerability can mean death. A predator does not care if you are grieving. Nature does not pause because you are emotionally overwhelmed. And yet, humans kept this ability. Not only kept it, but turned it into one of the most powerful forms of human behavior. Sometimes a few tears can communicate more than hundreds of words ever could. A crying face can instantly transmit pain, helplessness, love, loss, exhaustion, regret, or relief without saying anything at all. To understand why humans cry emotionally, you first have to understand that human emotions are different from animal emotions, not only in strength, but in complexity. Most animals react to what is happening right now: hunger, cold, fear, pain, direct danger, immediate survival. But humans can suffer because of a past that no longer exists. We can fear futures that have not happened yet. We can imagine tragedies that may never occur. Our brains are capable of building entire invisible worlds inside themselves. We replay memories over and over again. We imagine conversations that never happened. We think about mistakes from years ago. We fear losing people we love even while they are still sitting beside us. A person can lie awake at night crying over something that exists nowhere except inside the theater of their own mind. And maybe this is where emotional crying truly begins. Not simply as a reaction to the external world, but as a reaction to consciousness itself. Because humans are not just animals that survive. Humans are animals that know they exist. Humans are aware of time, aware of death, aware of loss, aware that everything they love will eventually disappear. And maybe humans are the only creatures that fully understand the temporary nature of life itself. But emotional tears are not only connected to sadness. Sometimes people cry from happiness, sometimes from relief, sometimes after surviving something terrifying, sometimes after years of emotional pressure finally collapse all at once. Parents cry when holding their child for the first time. Soldiers cry when they return home. Athletes cry after victory. People cry during weddings, reunions, and moments of overwhelming beauty. This is strange because crying is not always connected to suffering. Sometimes the brain seems to cry simply because emotions become too large for the body to contain normally. Some scientists believe emotional tears may help regulate the nervous system. When emotional intensity becomes too high, the body may use crying as a release mechanism to lower internal stress. Hormones change, breathing changes, muscles relax. Emotional pressure escapes physically through tears, but there may be an even deeper explanation. Maybe humans cry because humans survived together. Human beings were never the strongest predators on Earth. We do not have claws, we do not have fangs, we do not have thick fur, we do not have incredible speed or natural armor. Compared to many animals, humans are physically weak creatures. For most of history, a single human alone in nature was extremely vulnerable. Our ancestors survived because they formed groups, tribes, families, communities. Cooperation became one of the greatest survival tools humans ever developed. And in a world built around social connection, emotional tears may have evolved into an extremely important signal, a signal that is difficult to fake. When someone cries, they reveal vulnerability immediately. They show pain, fear, exhaustion, helplessness. They communicate that they need support, comfort, or protection. And for social creatures, that kind of signal is incredibly powerful. A group that protects vulnerable members survives longer than a group where everyone suffers alone. Emotional sensitivity may have strengthened trust between humans. It may have helped parents respond to children faster. It may have helped communities remain emotionally connected during grief, illness, or danger. And maybe that is why human crying is so deeply connected to empathy. When humans see another human crying, the brain often reacts automatically. Even babies react emotionally to the cries of other babies, even when they do not understand the reason, as if the human brain evolved specifically to notice emotional pain in others. Emotional tears become more than water leaving the eyes. They become a form of communication older than language itself. Before writing, before civilization, before words, a crying face could already communicate suffering. But the story becomes even stranger when you realize that humans often try to hide their tears. In many societies, emotional crying is associated with weakness, especially among men. People are taught to suppress emotions, control themselves, hide vulnerability, and pretend everything is fine, even when it is not. Entire cultures are built around emotional restraint, and yet, emotional crying never disappears completely because it seems connected to something deeper than culture, deeper than social expectations. It is connected to the structure of human consciousness itself. Some neuroscientists believe emotional tears appeared alongside advanced self-awareness. At some point, the human brain became sophisticated enough not only to feel emotions, but to reflect on them. Humans do not only experience pain, we think about pain. We analyze it. We assign meaning to it. We imagine future pain before it even happens. We mourn things before we lose them. We relive emotional experiences years later. And maybe emotional crying emerged as a side effect of this deeper awareness, because sometimes consciousness becomes overwhelming. Sometimes the mind carries more emotional weight than it knows how to process silently. And maybe that is why humans cry even when nobody else is present. People cry alone in bedrooms, in cars, in showers, in darkness, in silence. Not because they are trying to communicate with others, but because emotional crying may also be a way for the brain to communicate with itself. The strangest thing is that scientists still do not fully understand why emotional tears exist. Biology can explain the chemicals, neuroscience can explain the nervous system, psychology can explain emotional behavior, evolution can explain social bonding, but none of those explanations fully capture why tears can carry such enormous emotional meaning. Why music can suddenly make someone cry, why memories can trigger tears decades later, why certain words can completely break a person emotionally. Why humans sometimes cry without even understanding why they are crying, and maybe that mystery reveals something important about human nature itself. Emotional crying may be the side effect of one of the most dangerous abilities humans possess, the ability to feel reality too deeply. Because the human brain does not simply observe the world, it transforms the world into meaning. Humans create love, guilt, hope, regret, attachment, nostalgia, dreams, fear, purpose, and identity inside an invisible psychological universe. We build emotional worlds larger than physical reality itself, and sometimes those inner worlds become too heavy to hold silently.
Maybe that is why humans cry emotionally, not because we're weaker than animals, but because we're aware of more than animals. We remember more, we imagine more, we fear more, we hope for more, we lose more inside our minds. Humans do not only experience reality, we experience the meaning of reality. And maybe emotional tears are the price humans pay for being creatures capable of understanding not only life, but also death, loss, time, memory, and the terrifying fragility of existence itself.